ever. The Warriors got 15-plus points from all their starters in a playoff game. Not bad. In other news, the Rockets may have lost Game 2 to the Warriors last night, but the performance of a hurt James Harden was really impressive. The reigning MVP accidentally poked in the eye in the first quarter by an apologetic Draymond Green. Despite hardly being able to see, he somehow scored 29 points. He had contusions, actually bleeding in both eyes. Watch how he began his post-game press conference.
God damn. Right. Hurt. I can barely see, but just try to go out there and do what I can to help my teammates.
We can tell the lights are bothering your eyes. Did you have trouble with your vision on the court?
Can't see nothing.
Whooped out.
Barely could see.
I'm sorry, what?
I barely could see.
It was actually hard to even watch him. Now, before his injury, Steph Curry dislocated the middle finger on his left non-shooting hand when he tried to tip the ball away from Clint Capella. Went to the bench first, then X-rays back in the locker room before finishing with another average night. He was in foul trouble. 20 points, 6 of 16 shooting, 3 of 13. That's all he was from downtown. But he's also very thankful because that finger is not broken.
Oh, it hurts, but it'll be all right. Didn't break anything, so that's fortunate. Just got to deal with pain, and hopefully before Saturday that goes away. We'll be fine. I mean, it's different when you never had a dislocated finger like that before and they pop it back in. You're just dealing with pain, but wasn't thinking about it out there.
All right, real quick injury update on James Harden. As soon as Houston landed back in Houston today, he went to an eye doctor. They say no issues. They expect him to be okay for Game 3. Also, Tim Legler here. I mean, you played 10 years in the NBA, right?
I had both of these
very
injuries,
impressive years where you had both of those injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, neither one is good if you're a shooter, which is tougher to deal with.
Yeah, I actually had a finger go between my eyeball and my eye socket, probably an inch deep, where I had my hand over my face. I was afraid to look in my hand because I thought my eye had come out of my head, okay? So I know what James Harden is dealing with right now, and then also, obviously, the number of dislocations I've had, I can't even count them over the years. Which one's more going to affect the guy more? Probably the shooting with the eye and James Harden, particularly since it's on the left side of his body. That eye is going to water up the entire game. Now, by the time they play Game 3, that should be cleared up. But certainly, as far as last night goes, you know, that eye on the same side as a shooting hand with a little bit of blurriness there and the eye constantly watering, definitely going to affect you more than your offhand will in the case of Steph Curry when he has two fingers taped together. It'll affect him probably more off the handle and more on catching the ball clean. But look, it's Steph Curry. You got that right hand free and that thing's 100% intact. He's still one of the greatest shooters that we've ever seen, right?
That's why it's so impressive, though, with Harden, is he did scored 29 points after that injury. And if I ever hear that from you again, I'm going to punch you.
That's a
I don't
good
need
story.
a visual of your eyeball in your hand.
I should have gave you some warning on that one. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, Harden here's the thing. He's going to need probably a little more help from other players like Chris Paul. 18 and 17 points, respectively, in games 1 and 2. Also, 10 assists. 9 turnovers. Obviously, numbers are not great there. But what concerns you the most, I guess? What else do you need to see?
He needs to be more aggressive with that mid-range game. I mean, that's what differentiates Chris Paul, I think, in this series. He's so good in that 15 to 18-foot range. But let's be honest, this offense has been taken over by James Harden in the last year and a half. Chris Paul, I thought, had much more of a stamp on this offense when they were first paired up. It's increasingly gone more to James Harden when Chris Paul's in the game. I think he needs to have more opportunities to initiate the offense and use that ball screen, get those switches. He uses that little snake dribble to get into that elbow area and then the lean back jumper. It's an almost unstoppable shot. I just don't think he's really had that aggressive run in this series yet. I think he's going to try to put a stamp on it in Game 3. He knows they desperately need that game, and they're going to need him to maybe have a 25-point night.
And when you go back to Game 7 of the conference finals last year, how desperately they did need him, he's got to show up quickly. Game 3, Saturday night in Houston, 8:30 on ABC. Tim, you're coming back later, right?
I will.
If I allow you to come back later, I'm kidding. We love you. Odds are certainly against the Rockets to make a comeback down 2-0 because historically, teams up 2 games to none in best-of-7 series have gone on to win 94% of the time. Do not forget, though, the Warriors were up 2-0 in the finals against the Cavaliers in 16, and we know how that one turned out. So, Houston, we do have a problem. How big of a problem, though? Here's the PTI crew.
All right, Wilbon, is the Rockets-Warriors series over already?
Tony, I don't think so. But let me say, I thought that Houston was going to win last night to even it at 1. And as you know, coming into the series, I was looking at this as a 6 or 7 game series. Tony, that can be a lot shorter if, already at 2-0, because I'm kind of thinking, all right, the Rockets may get one at home. I don't know if they're going to get two. James Harden's condition, I think, will be improved, his eyes, that is, by 3 days off before Game 3 in Houston on Saturday. But, Tony, there's this. Golden State's up 2-0, and Klay Thompson is shooting 41%. Steph Curry is shooting 39%. Kevin Durant is shooting 42%. Those guys are the 3 greatest offensive players in one unit in the world. What happens if they get hot? What's Houston going to do then? So I'm not seeing a 6 or 7 game series at the moment.
I think 2 things we could agree on completely, that if James Harden is not 100%, they have no chance in Houston. They have 0 chance at all. And the second thing that I would point out is you can't count a series out when one team hasn't gone home yet. Because then Houston could come out of this 2-0 to 2-2, and then you got a 3-game series. I will say, though, I think I'm right on this, that Golden State is undefeated on the road in the playoffs so far. I mean, understand this is not a 1-8 situation, but they've been better on the road than they've been at home. They just won 2 at home. So, I mean, if I'm looking ahead, and you know that I think this and I've thought it all year, the better team is Golden State. Now, maybe Durant stops shooting. I don't know. But the better team is Golden State.
The better team is, Tony, and when you get Draymond Green playing like he's playing, particularly defensively, and taking those lobs away from Houston, and you have Andre Iguodala looking like his MVP of the final self a few years ago, those 5 guys, they're the best team, and there's not much the Rockets can do about it so far. But as you mentioned, they're going home. That's it. We're done. Back to you.